Hi, welcome to Take a Break, Take a Breath for Monday, March 1st. I'm Rick Boyer, the pastor of Prospect Presbyterian Church in Maplewood, New Jersey, and Take a Break, Take a Breath is an invitation to pause in the middle of our day and to do just that, breathe, and to center ourselves in God and to find the things that are most important in our life through centering ourselves in that way. Each time we come together, I've been sharing or talking about a different psalm, and today it's Psalm 143. Psalm 143 is another one of the Psalms of David that come in an odd place because they're Psalms in response to the exile and the return from exile, and they're used in that way. They're not necessarily Psalms written by David. We don't know much about the context of many of them. This particular one, though, is used in the church as part of, especially in churches that do this. We don't do this at Prospect, but those that do Easter vigils, this is the reading, one of the readings for the Easter vigil. It's a penitential psalm, and so it offers up confession. In this case, though, unlike many others, it is confession for all of humanity. This psalmist is crying out to God for help because of being surrounded by the enemies and fearing that life will be taken away from the psalmist. Yet the psalmist cries out not for God's righteousness, but for God's mercy, because the psalmist knows that all of humanity has sinned. Now, Paul in the New Testament picks that up and uses that to say we've all sinned and come short of the glory of God, and then great theologians down through history have picked that up and used it to remind us of our sinfulness, but not sinfulness in the sense of individual moral choices, but in the sense of wanting to be totally independent and not accountable to anyone, and to take the place of God and to be the judge of all things in our lives rather than being part of a community of faith and recognizing that we all have our limitations. The verse that I chose to think about today is, "Do not enter into judgment with your servant, for no one living is righteous before you." Do not enter into judgment with your servant, for no one living is righteous before you. So if you haven't already done so, I invite you to go to a quiet place in your house and to shut the door and find a comfortable chair and sit down and relax. To allow the support of that chair to bring you some peace. To feel the strength of that chair as it holds you. And close your eyes. Take a deep breath. As you breathe in the breath of God. And as you breathe out all that separates you from God. As you breathe in the breath of life. And as you breathe out all that does not give you life. As you breathe in God's peace and mercy and love. And breathe out all of your worries and anxieties and fears and concerns. Imagine that God's peace and God's presence is growing inside of you. Maybe you imagine it like the blood that runs through your veins. And so it goes through the heart or through the lungs and gets renewed and comes to the heart. And then from the heart, it moves out. As it comes into your lungs, it calms your breathing, and as it moves into your heart, it calms your heart rate. And as it moves out into your shoulders and down your arms, it brings relaxation and peace to your shoulders and your arms, and your hands open up. As it moves up into your neck is relaxed. As it moves up into your mind, your brain, it calms all of the things that have been colliding in your mind. It moves around in your face and jaw, and brings freshness to your face. It moves down your back. The blood flows through your back and refreshes the muscles in your back, gives them new energy and strength. As it moves down into your stomach, it calms whatever has been stirring in your stomach. And as it moves down through your legs to your feet, all of those parts of your body are renewed and refreshed and peaceful and calm. And then in your mind's eye, go to a room where there is a fireplace and a filing cabinet. You walk in, and the fireplace has a nice warm fire, and it's an inviting place to be. And the filing cabinet has a drawer with your name on it. Curious, you open the drawer, you pull it open, and you start to look at the labels on the files. Each one has something different on it. Something that describes events in your life, or parts of your life, or people in your life, whatever you want it to be, but each file has a different label. Some of them are things you have to do, some of them are responsibilities you have, some of them might even be regrets that you have. They're all there. Go through them, and there are some that you want to pull out and examine more closely. And to recognize that as you're doing so, it is a kind of prayer for you to hold that file with that label, and all of the thoughts and all of the things that are inside that file. And when you pull one that is a regret or a sadness or something you wish you had done differently, you're able to pause and think about that and lift it up to God. And then in hearing in your mind God's grace and assurance of forgiveness, you're invited to toss it into the fire. You can continue on with that process for a while, and I'll be quiet for a few moments as you look through the files that are there, holding up to God those that are your concerns, offering confession for those that didn't go the way you wanted. Well, and then it comes to the time when you need to go. So you take the files that didn't go into the fire and you put them back in the drawer. And you close the drawer. But you know you can come back and pull the drawer open any time and go through those files again in the presence of God. Once they're all back in the drawer, allow that image to fade away. And bring yourself back to the room where you are. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Well, that's Take a Break, Take a Breath for Monday, March 1st. I'm Rick Boyer. If you have a suggestion for me for where we go next, or you want to talk or pray, send an email to rick@prospectchurch.org.